Seguimos viendo la entrevista que hicimos en Londres con Doctor House, Hugh Laurie, que tiene, como ya saben, su disco de blues, muy lindo disco, se llama Let Them Talk, y él sigue contándonos al respecto.
It was actually one of the most enjoyable parts of the whole process was when I first started to talk to Joe Henry, the producer, and we realized that we had very close musical tastes, but that's not to say we had the same musical knowledge, so we started to exchange lists and lists of songs, hundreds of songs, which was one of the best parts of it. It's a great discovery. It's a great privilege, I think, for another person to show you their musical taste. It's a wonderful thing to be let into someone's musical tastes, and we started exchanging songs, and gradually we came down to 15, 20 songs I think we went in with. I loved that whole process, but we wound up with St. James Infirmary is a song I always knew that I wanted to do, because I always had this idea of opening the record with something rather sort of grand and stately, but also naked, musically naked, that I didn't want to hide behind these brilliant musicians. There are brilliant musicians on the record, but I wanted to be, I didn't want to hide behind them and just be sort of doing that. I wanted to come out at the beginning and say, okay, this is going to be me playing the piano, and, you know, so get used to it.
Do you have a favourite from the album?
Oh, you see, I'm banging on, like I'm going on about my.
It's
like
beautiful.
A proud father. I mean, I feel like there. I love them all. You know, I don't know that I really have a favourite. Well, maybe if I had to pick one, I suppose it would be probably Tipatina, because Tipatina has meant. It's the song, when I first heard that Professor Longhair tune, and it's partly a tune, but mostly it's a rhythm, and this is where Professor Longhair introduced a sort of Latin feel into a straight sort of blues, 8-bar blues structure that, well, who knows whether he invented it or not. Some people will say Toots Washington had started to do it before him. Who knows? I mean, everybody's influencing everybody else all the time. But anyway, Professor Longhair did, he really made it his own. This sort of rumba feel that he got into his blues playing. And I remember the first time I heard that, I thought, my God, that is one of the most thrilling things I've ever heard on a piano. He would play the piano like it was like it was a drum kit, and I remember the hairs on the back of my neck going up, and I probably listened to that song every day since. In the last 30 years, 40 years, I probably listened to that song every day at some point. Wow. I'm a little bit crazy about it. So maybe that's the song that
nice.
Means the most to me, and for that reason was the song I was most nervous about doing, because it's holy ground, you know. I realize that I am trespassing on holy ground, and all I can do is do it as respectfully as I can, because it's holy to me too, and it means a huge amount to me. But anyway, probably Tipitina would be there.
Well, Roberto, won't you tell me where you've been? When you got home this morning, you had a belly full of gin.
I have received some skepticism, as I knew I would. I mean, and that's only natural, and I would have felt it myself. If I were looking at myself from over there, I would be feeling the same thing. I'd be thinking, who the hell do you think you are, you know, trying to do this? Because as I say, it doesn't have a particularly good, actors doing music doesn't have a particularly good track record, and I completely understand people suspecting that this is, that I'm just playing around. This is just a hobby. It's not a hobby for me, but this is the most important thing in my life, one of the most important things in my life, and it always has been. I didn't just sort of pick this up a couple of years ago and think I would just play at it. But, so I think some people have been curious, some people have been mystified by it, some people have been very sort of generous and have thought, okay, well, we'll give it a listen. And I mean, when Dr. John agrees to be on your, you know, we sent him some tracks for him to hear, and when he gives a thumbs up and agrees to appear on your record, you think, well, we must be doing something right. And Alan Toussaint agrees to do the horn parts for, I think, 3 songs on the record. You know, that's, these are very, very eminent and these are towering musicians, and for them to give any sort of nod of approval, that gives on confidence anyway, that we can't be going wildly off track. But I've had really lots of different responses. I mean, every possible one. People going, I don't know anything about blues and I don't care for it. People going, I don't really listen, I don't know anything about it, but I'm interested. And some people saying, I never knew you did this. And some people saying, oh, I always knew you did this and thought this might happen. And, you know, it's been everything, really. I've had every mixture of response. I was in New Jersey making a film, and I decided on the spur of the moment I were to buy a car and drive to New Orleans. I thought, this is, if I don't do this now, maybe I will never do this. And so I bought a car online. I don't recommend this. Don't buy cars over the internet. It leads to unhappiness. But I bought a car, a 1963 Ford Galaxy. And I flew down to Texas to collect this car and drove from there to New Orleans. And it was a wonderful journey, a thrilling journey. Really, the DVD is showing, really what it's showing is a very, very nervous, apprehensive Englishman devoted to the music of New Orleans, approaching this sacred city for the first time in his life. And this was my first visit to New Orleans. You may say, why didn't you go 20 years earlier? Well, sometimes you're, I don't know if you agree with me, but sometimes you get nervous about going to places that mean a lot, or meeting someone who means a lot. It's always nerve-wracking to meet your heroes. Because you don't know how it's going to go. Are your heroes going to disappoint you, or are you going to disappoint them? And so I put it off and put it off and put it off, and then finally I went, and I just fell in love with it as a city. I just thought it was the most amazing place. And then a few months later, to my amazement, we have a band, and there we are recording with Alan Toussaint conducting the horn section, and Tom Jones singing, and Irma Thomas singing in this little courtyard in the middle of the French Quarter of New Orleans. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. It was a very emotional event for me to have made this, because it really, I'm not a religious person. But if I had a religion, it is music. Music, I think, is my experience of the divine. It is where, if God exists anywhere to me, it is in music. It is a holy force, and New Orleans is a holy city, and it was a very emotional experience for me to actually to go and do this, finally do this show there, performing in the French Quarter.
I went down to St. James Infirmary. Saw my baby there.
Well, I suppose, yes, I probably would. I mean, I think of the musical life as being such a beautiful and romantic way to live one's life. I think music, as I say, I do think it has a sort of spark of the divine about it, and it is the most beautiful way in which human beings can express themselves and communicate with others. I find it a wonderful, thrilling way to spend your life. However, I can't deny, I'm aware of the fact that I'm only in the position to do this because I've been an actor. And I was lucky enough to be involved in something very successful, which meant that a record company came to me and said, "Do you want to do a record?" And I know that if I hadn't been an actor and if I hadn't played house, I wouldn't be sitting here. So, you know, I certainly can't regret house. I mean, I'm very, very proud of house. I think we've done some very, very good things, things I'm really proud of in the last 8 years. And I could never regret it or disown it or wish that it hadn't happened. My God, I couldn't. It was like, it's been the most thrilling ride, but at the same time, you know, when I'm with these guys, when I'm with these musicians, but you know, it may only be because I've come to it so late that I am like, it makes me feel like I'm 10 years old again. I'm with these guys, and they've done this all their lives. So to them, this is the way you live. Making music is how you live. To me, I'm like a 10-year-old child who's going, you know, I'm so thrilled to be where I am that. I don't know, maybe if I'd gone back and maybe, and I'd been, if I could do these things again, and maybe if I'd been a musician for the last 30 years instead of an actor, I don't know, it's so impossible to know. I would be a different person. Right now, I think let's touch wood here, but I think I have absolutely the best of all possible worlds. I am insanely lucky, and I keep expecting some terrible thing's got to happen. The hotel's got to catch fire or something to make up for my very enormous good fortune. I don't have any plans right now, but don't read anything into that, because I have no plans to do anything beyond about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That I work on a very short time scale. I would love to go to Argentina. I have some friends who recently got back from Buenos Aires and are raving about it, about the time they had and what an incredibly exciting city it is. And I would absolutely love to go. I would love to go, but I don't have any. I've got we finished this season of House in I think about April, and so up until that time, obviously that's the most of what I'm doing. But After April, I think my life will change very radically, and I would love to come to Argentina.
Tipatina,